Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. We now know new details about the proposed Macquarie Point Stadium. Proponents have lodged a detailed planning application with projections of a potential $60 million cost blowout.
Mac Point's 23,000-seat stadium taking a massive step towards becoming a reality. But new costings reveal a major budget blowout years before construction is set to commence.
This is presented at $775 million, and that's for planning approval.
Previously flagged at $715 million, leaving a $60 million shortfall. But the proponents promise it's not what it looks like.
We'll work through a scoping and value management exercise to bring it to budget for delivery.
The government adamant its contribution will remain at what was promised.
The Premier made that commitment during the election campaign to the Tasmanian people, $375 million and not $1 more.
There will be $240 million from the federal government and $15 from the AFL. The rest expected to be covered by private investors. A car park nowhere to be seen in the submission.
That is not how you do best practice and is not how you do safe management of large movements of people.
The project has the support of the Liberals and Labor, but the Greens remain staunchly opposed.
It's already forecasting a $60 million blowout. Tasmanians know that it will go further. No one believes that this stadium can be built for anything less than $1 billion.
The proposal now in the hands of the Planning Commission, with the project still needing to pass both houses of Parliament. Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmania News.
Tas Ports has been slammed for a lack of transparency by a Legislative Council committee. A report finding the government-owned business used an adversarial approach when dealing with customers and stakeholders.
We are an island. We have to have a reliable port infrastructure and we need them to take a much more proactive approach.
Premier and Infrastructure Minister Jeremy Rockliff says the government will review the findings and a response will be provided in due course. 3 people have been taken into custody following an alleged armed robbery earlier this morning at a petrol station in Lutana. Police say 3 men wearing balaclavas threatened staff with a knife and hammer before leaving with cash and fleeing towards Prince of Wales Bay just after 5:30 a.m. Tasmania Police is calling on anyone who might have information to come forward. From fender benders to major collisions, a decade of insurance claim data is revealing Tasmania's worst crash hotspots. And while some roads have improved over the years, other repeat offenders continue to make the list.
Behind the wheel, things don't always go to plan, but some roads are worse than others. Insurer Amy analysing 4.3 million motor claims nationwide over 10 years, finding here in Tasmania, 8 of the 10 most common crash locations are in the south, plus Launceston's Wellington Street at number 5 and the Bass Highway through Devonport at 8th. But top of the list is Sandy Bay Road, something council's been working to fix with a speed limit reduction.
Also, we're looking to improve cycling and pedestrian transit through this corridor by continuing to investigate the Battery Point walkway, which will hopefully remove some of those cars from that very busy stretch.
According to the stats, drivers aged over 65 are most likely to be involved in a crash, responsible for almost a third of Tasmanian claims. And Friday afternoons are the worst time.
We're rushing to get home from work, and that's really when people are concentrating less behind the wheel.
And while nose to tails are the most common claims nationally, the Apple Isle bucks the trend. A quarter of our claims involve a collision with a stationary object.
Things like your sensors and warning lights and warning signs, our drivers have admitted that sometimes they just ignore those.
Davey Street has improved over the 10 years of data, while the Tasman Highway is a consistent offender, often causing a backlog through the CBD.
We have doubled the amount of money we give to every single local government in the country to improve local roads. We need to make sure that we've got safe systems in place as well as safe driver behaviour.
The key message, stay alert behind the wheel. Nick Kelly, 7 Tasmania News.
Pathology staff at the Launceston General Hospital have walked off the job today, calling on the state government to provide them with an additional 18 full-time workers. They've threatened to escalate industrial action unless the government responds, saying the lack of staff is creating an environment of risk.
It increases the risk of an error being made. We do have a lot of systems in place to prevent that from happening, but tired people doing complicated, difficult work, there's always that risk.
This is a totally unacceptable situation that workers have, for the third time now, had to stop work without even a response from the government.
A Department of Health spokesperson says it has been communicating with the union to address the issues raised by members. Cruise season is almost upon us. The first ship docking in Hobart at the end of next month with 3,000 passengers and another 1,200 crew. An industry briefing letting local tourism businesses know what to expect this summer with 80 ships scheduled to sail in. A boon for operators like the Parsons family's Karinga farm.
The forest, the farm experience and a barbecue lunch, and then seeing the natural animals, it gives them a fantastic introduction to Tassie, but it also gives us a really good income source.
From a shore excursion perspective, a great destination because they can get out into the regions really easily.
20 ships will also sail into Port Arthur. Expansion works are underway to allow bigger aircraft to land at Hobart Airport, with the first of 3 major runway upgrades beginning. Once completed, Hobart will open up to more international flights, including from Asian destinations.
Basically, it's to strengthen the runway and the taxiways to be able to take planes weighing up to 300 tonnes when currently we only get them up to about 90 tonnes.
The expected passenger growth through this airport well out into 2040 is over 5.5 million passengers.
The project will see 100,000 tonnes of asphalt placed across the runway and should be finished by the middle of next year. A prestigious Tasmanian hotel has been named one of the world's very best by a panel of 600 tourism experts. The Tasman's managers are headed to London to accept the award, but celebrations continued closer to home today, acknowledging Tasmania's well-cemented place on the world stage.
It is perhaps Tasmania's most luxurious hotel, and now everyone knows it.
This is a huge accolade. We're on the world stage, 50 best hotels in the world.
The Tasman Hobart just making the cut, securing number 49 out of 50 of the best hotels across the globe, and only one of 2 Australian entries to claim a top spot.
A win not only for this establishment, which is top class, but it's really a win for our entire state.
Tourism operators hoping the win can be the encouragement that the industry needs following a tough winter, with hotel occupancy falling below 60% for the first time since 2021.
We just need to get through summer, have a wonderful summer, and really get planning now for next winter so we can make the very most of that, what is a traditionally quieter time of year.
But it's all smiles, with the hotel joining a handful of Tassie's best treasures already on the podium.
Devonport receiving the top tourism town of the year. We've had the Agrarian Kitchen. We've had just last week Hersey's best seafood restaurant in the world.
The Tasman now hoping to use its newly found fame for good.
I think once you get people into the hotel, once they're here, you just have to, encourage them to explore Tasmania and the surrounding areas.
Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
Students from northern Tasmanian primary schools are about to take centre stage in Launceston for the final night of Singfest. They've been practising non-stop over the past few weeks, putting nerves aside for a chance to shine.
For 14 years, Singfest has been giving northern Tasmanian students a reason to raise their voices, bringing together dozens of primary schools to sing as one. Eva Lewis from St Thomas More's Catholic School has a solo in tonight's combined school choir. She's been practising her vocals at home most nights over the past few weeks.
My mum and dad are very proud. My brother can get really annoyed, but he just goes in his own room, and I normally do it with a soundtrack in my lounge room. I am my own believer.
Music has been a part of Max Nutting's life for 4 years.
I like singing pop and rock songs mostly. I'm in a rock band at Riverside Primary School.
He aspires to keep singing in the future.
Haven't always been this way. I wasn't born a renegade.
More than 250 students will perform for their families and teachers at Door of Hope for the second instalment of Singfest tonight. Organisers quick to point out it's not a competition.
The kids take pride in themselves and what they have put together in their own schools, and it's really beautiful to see them all come together and put a two-part song together where they've learnt one of the parts and then they're singing with other schools.
Belinda Ogden, 7 Tasmania News.
While North Hobart's had a season to forget in the TSL Seniors, the Development League team is going for back-to-back titles. They play Lauderdale on Saturday. The two teams have been difficult to split this season.
Yeah, I think it's been, 2 or 3 games under a kick and, a couple sort of, 2 kicks. So it's going to be a really close contest, I imagine, and both teams, match up really well.
They're a big group around the footy, which we're excited to go against. We're just really, really excited to get up there.
McGuinness is considering throwing his hat in the ring to replace outgoing senior coach Ellen Christensen, but first both sides need to get through Saturday's decider. The Jackies' hectic pre-season has taken a major toll. Scans in Perth showing Sean McDonald copped a nasty ankle sprain during their bronze medal game in Singapore. He's now been ruled out for up to 3 months.
Everything that I would have hoped would not happen happened to us, and so we have multiple injuries coming out of this 2.5 weeks, which was my biggest fear, and it's all come true.
New import Craig Sword will also miss tomorrow's NBL season opener at Hoopfest in Perth through concussion. Tassie basketballer Lachlan Barker is now travelling west as a replacement player. Hopefully they still go well, Kim.
Let's hope so. Thanks, Nick. Well, weather-wise, we expect more of what we had today. Kai's next with the details.
Good evening. Hobart 15 today, Launceston, Devonport and Burnie all 14. 17 at Friendly Beaches, the top, Maria Island 16, 15 for the Islands and St Helens, 14 at Lowhead and Bushy Park, Smithton and Grove 13, Strawn 12 and 6 in Lyowini. A thick band of cloud moved across the state today, bringing wet and windy conditions. A cloud band associated with a cold front moved over Tasmania and towards Victoria. Now tomorrow the cold front will clear from the east and cross the Tasman Sea. West to northwesterly winds increasing up to 45 knots in the south, westerly swells increasing up to 6 metres. We have a gale warning for the entire state tomorrow, extending to Frederick Henry, Norfolk, Storm Bay and the Channel. There is also a strong wind warning for the Derwent Estuary, Central Plateau Lakes and the Southwest Lakes. There is a severe weather warning for the Furneaux Islands and areas of the northeast and east coast. There are flood warnings in place for the River Derwent, Styx and Taina rivers, and a sheep graziers warning for the northwest coast, Midlands, Upper Derwent Valley and the southeast. And finally, a bushwalkers weather alert for the western and central plateau due to snow falling as low as 200 metres. Wet and windy again in Hobart tomorrow, just 13, much the same in Cygnet 11, showery in New Norfolk 12 the high there. Windy with showers also for the north, Launceston and Devonport 12, 11 in Campbelltown. Windy with a high chance of showers in the west, Burnie and Strawn 11, 12 expected in Smithton. The east also copping showers, St Helens 13, Swansea 14 and 12 for Fingal. Friday, showers about the west, far south and Bass Strait Islands extending statewide, snow falling to 500 metres in the morning. Saturday, showers continue about the west, far south and Bass Strait Islands with snow to the 800 metre mark. And sadly, we're in for a soggy Sunday with showers statewide as snow continues to 700 metres. Warming up in Brisbane tomorrow, 30 degrees, a couple of showers for the city of Churches 16, 23 and fine in Perth. Clear conditions this evening, Hobart 8 degrees, Launceston and Devonport both 9. Unfortunately, it seems the more savage weather is on the way, Kim.
It does. It just keeps on giving, doesn't it? Well, that is all your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us tonight. Good night.